Welcome to Baker Dave Presents. We are here once again in the Morgan Hall Kitchens at Temple University. It's a working kitchen. There might be some noises, there might be some people in the background. Today, I have a special guest. It's Nailah Adam, and she's actually a student here at Temple University, and she has brought with her her family recipe for Southern fried chicken coming right up. Welcome, Nailah Adam. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well.
So you're a student here. You're a
Yes.
student here at Temple University.
Yes.
Senior?
Senior.
Excellent. So you're getting ready to graduate.
Media studies and production.
Very nice. What's
Yes.
your plans after you graduate?
I'm not quite sure yet, but I'm trying to figure it out. I just kind of figured out what it is that I wanted to do now because while I was in college, I was just trying to find myself and basically.
As we all do in college.
Exactly. And
Did you
so
find yourself or were you still lost?
I'm still finding myself, but I kind of got the direction in which I need to go
I got a
in.
secret. I'm still finding myself too.
Really?
Yeah.
See, and that makes me feel better. But
Good.
it
You never
also-
stop finding yourself.
Right. Exactly. And so that's basically what I'm doing.
Today I find me right here at Morgan Hall.
Yes.
So what are we making? We're going to make chicken.
Yes, we're going to make Southern fried chicken. So
How is that different from Northern fried chicken or Eastern fried chicken or Western fried chicken or?
I think it matters how it's actually prepped. So my grandmother, she's from Georgia, and she usually preps her chicken in buttermilk. So what we did is we kind of soaked this buttermilk overnight.
This is
and
a long soak.
yes, and it kind of brimes it. I forget what exactly the buttermilk does. Do you know exactly what buttermilk does, like
As a
scientifically?
baker, I can't really say for sure, but my guess would be because it's acidic,
Yeah.
so it's going to help tenderize the meat a little bit. It's going to allow the flavors to get into it and soften it a little bit. I think it's going to make it easier for cooking purposes.
Exactly, and I have noticed that whenever I cook with buttermilk and I soak my actual food in buttermilk, that it turns out to be a lot tender. So
Right.
that is the reason why I do that. And then I put a salt base, or it looks like a little bit more seasoned
There's some
salt in it.
seasonings in there, that
Yeah.
we threw in there yesterday.
Yeah. Okay. So
Just like you would have, or grandmother would have.
exactly, and so that kind of brines the chicken, so the chicken has a natural kind of salt to it. So you don't have to add so much salt. You know.
How much salt do you put in the brine?
I guess it depends on how much chicken is
For this
there.
much liquid, how much salt would you put in?
Maybe like
Half a cup?
Yeah, maybe a half a cup. Yeah, maybe a little bit more than a half a cup actually, because you just really want the chicken to soak it all in.
Right, so that's brining is like a new thing. You see it on Food Network all the time, and everybody's brining. They're brining their turkeys, they're brining their chicken, they're brining their tofu. I don't know. Like ideally, it again adds moisture because you get the salt will actually help pull some of the moisture out of that and allow it to be replaced with the other moisture. Is my guess. Again, I'm a baker, totally just guessing at this, but I believe that's why that works.
Yeah,
and
but
keeps
that
it very
sounds
moist
right.
when you're cooking with it.
Right, that sounds right.
Because nobody likes dry chicken.
Yeah, nobody likes dry
You never
chicken.
see chicken jerky.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like if people like dried chicken, they would have chicken jerky.
Yeah, no, I agree. And nobody likes dried chicken. So what we're going to do is we're going to start seasoning the chicken now that
So
it has
are you
been
from the
soaked
South?
in it. No, my grandmother is from the
That's it?
South. So
Are you from
what
here?
happened was, no, I'm from Philly.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm from Philly. So let me tell you the story.
That's perfect. I didn't mean to distract you. I apologize.
No,
I want to learn
totally
more
fine.
about you. I mean,
No, so my grandmother was a sharecropper in the South.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, she picked cotton, and she was tired of picking cotton. She finally came up north in like the 50s, and
Okay.
she traveled to Connecticut, and she always had a trade for being a seamstress, so she opened her own
Okay.
like tailoring company, and she's just been in Connecticut ever since. Now, my mom, she came down from Connecticut to Philly to go to Temple, because my mom went to Temple.
Holy cow, look at you.
Yes, so she went to Temple.
Was she proud that you came here too?
Yes, she's so proud, and she really wants me to like do all the things that she did, but that's a whole nother story. But my mom, she came to Temple, and she just never left Philly. She just loved Philly so much. I don't know why, but she just loved Philly so much.
I mean, if she grew up in Connecticut, I could see Philly would be an attractive place
very
by
boring.
comparison. Yeah,
Yes,
I grew up in
yes.
Ohio, and it wasn't super exciting. Philly's a little more exciting.
It is. It's a lot more exciting. So she just never left. And so basically this recipe.
How about your dad?
My dad is from Africa. My dad is from the Sudan.
Okay.
So he came here when he was in his late 20s. He had his own traveling agency in Sudan.
Oh, wow.
He worked in Dubai for a little bit, and then he came to America to chase the American dream. So then
How'd that work out?
Oh, though that's crazy. So he started off, he came to America. He was supposed to meet his cousins here, and
Said he met your mom?
And no, it didn't happen that fast. I wish that would have been a cute story to tell. But
right.
So he met his cousins here. It's a crazy story. He was at the airport. He was supposed to meet his cousin. He was calling his cousin so many times. He never got in touch with them. So he just came with only his book bag, and basically he found somebody.
It's like the American dream. Like you hear people tell those stories, but they can't be good. It's got to be a hard dream, right?
So he found this. He met this guy that was Jamaican, and he was like, "Hey, like, you know, I don't know where I'm supposed to be, but I'm supposed to meet up with my cousin." He basically told him where his cousin. The Jamaican guy said, "Hey, I know where your cousin might be at." So like,
how does this Jamaican guy that he just met?
I don't know how.
There's no way he's gonna know his cousin.
No, I'm telling you, like he said he was in the airport for like maybe 8 hours, he said, just waiting and waiting and waiting. And I guess the Jamaican guy finally saw like he was waiting here, and he was like, "Oh, what's going on? Like, what were you waiting for?" He's like, "Well, I'm not from here. I'm from Sudan, and I'm supposed to be waiting on my cousin. My cousin hasn't come yet to come get me." So he's like, "Hey, maybe we can, you know, I might know your cousin," or I don't know how exactly.
I feel like this is going to be like a Law and Order episode.
Yes,
like this is not going to end well.
So he left his stuff at the airport. He finally came. Then he went to.
He just left his stuff at the
He
airport.
left his stuff
Did he
in
have
the
a
airport.
locker or something?
He said it was like some type of locker or something like that at that time, where he just put it in, but it wasn't
What
like.
year are we talking
locked.
here? Maybe it was a little bit safer then.
In the 80s, in the early 80s.
Wow.
Yeah, so maybe like 81, something
He was
around
super
that
trusting.
time. Yes. So then he finally started to work for. I don't know, some way, somehow he met up with his cousins. He was sleeping on the floor at his cousin's house. It was like a 1-bedroom apartment. It was like 10 of them living there. He worked at like this African convenience store.
Okay.
Somebody gave him a job there. He was making like nothing. And then he finally, I don't know how he came to Philly, but I think he came to Philly because that's when slowly, like in the 90s, when everybody was doing like bootleg DVDs or bootleg VCRs, he was one of those guys that were like on Germantown Avenue, like actually selling those like DVDs and
so
VCRs.
we're going to say he's an entrepreneur.
Yes, he's always been an entrepreneur.
Exactly. We're not going to, he may or may not have done illegal activities. We're going to say he was an entrepreneur.
Yes, and so, yes. So
did I throw you off track there? Look, I have a serious question
Yes.
about this whole thing.
Yes.
Like, this is a serious question.
Yes.
Because I don't know that I can go on without knowing this. Did he ever get his stuff out of the airport?
Oh, yes, he did. And
thank goodness.
And you know what?
I was gonna have trouble sleeping.
He told me this story exactly how I told you the story, because he kind of like just jumped, and I'm like, wait, so what happened to your stuff
it's
in
in
your
your
airport?
genes. And you wanted to know too.
Yes,
Perfectly.
it was that's so funny that you asked me that, just like that, because I was like, wait, so what happened to your stuff in the airport? He was like, oh,
Because I can't
went back and
focus on
got
anything else until I find out if he got his stuff from the airport.
Yes. So he came to Philly, was selling DVDs, blah blah blah, was making money. Then they finally shut it all down, divorced my mom, and now I don't know what's going on. So.
You didn't even meet your mom yet, and he's divorcing her?
Oh yeah. So
you're like all over the place.
Because
did he meet her before the DVDs or after?
And he was in my life until
entrepreneurial
I was like 7, and then I didn't really talk to him that much until like now. So that's probably why I kind of like skipped over that. But either way, he met my mom at a club here in Philly. My mom was just like, I was like, so what made you want to date someone that was Sudanese? She was like, I'm just tired of Americans. Like, I need to try something different.
Me too.
And I was like, okay. My mom, at
Americans
the
are
time, my
crazy.
mom was like 38, 39. My mom had me at 40. So, like, she really went through, you know, having relationships and stuff like that with people, and, like, she just was over it. So she thought that, you know, dating somebody that was outside of, you know, American culture
Worked for a little while.
But
sounds like the
for
real
about 7 years.
It sounds like the real American dream. It
Yes.
sounds like he went through a lot to get to where he is
Yes.
or whatever. So I think that's fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. So basically, this recipe has a little bit of mix of everything. The salt and pepper comes from my grandmother. My grandmother, she always cooks with salt and pepper. We have the paprika. My mom started to add paprika to her chicken when, you know, she started to
I'm
cook
Hungarian,
more.
so I add paprika to everything.
Oh.
So I'm with you. I'm with your
Yes.
mom on that.
Yes. And
Maybe she should have looked for a Hungarian person.
I know, she should have. You could have been my stepdad. But this is curry powder, and I get this from my dad. So my dad, he usually cooks with like cumin, and curry has a little bit of cumin in it.
His Jamaican friend would have used it too.
Yes, exactly. And then this is just garlic powder and onion powder. And my mom, she started to add onion powder and garlic powder to it. So essentially,
So it
my
started out
grandmother-
as like a salt and pepper
Yes,
chicken, and then
yes.
turned into what we're gonna make today.
Exactly.
So this is truly a family recipe. This is not one person's recipe.
Exactly.
Hey,
through
what
generations
seasoning are
and
you gonna add?
generations.
Like I feel like before you have kids, you need to add a seasoning so you can keep this going.
I know. I haven't.
Otherwise,
really,
it won't be really yours.
Yeah. The only thing that I really have done differently is started to add like I don't know what the general seasoning is for it, but like, can I say the brand name stuff? Like maybe
Like a seasoned salt that you get in the stores.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the only thing that I might add. But I don't know. I'm still learning, so who knows? Maybe I'll add some Italian seasoning, or I don't know. I have to go through my own experience, and now I am going through my own experience just cooking at home. So here we have some chicken.
Do you actually make this at home?
Yeah, I do make this at home a lot. My boyfriend, he's obsessed with just chicken, period. He loves
Chicken's
anything
delicious.
with
I'm not gonna
chicken.
lie.
I don't know why, but I like to
Because
just...
chicken's delicious.
Yeah.
Like
it
that's
is,
reason enough, isn't it?
I guess.
You
I
don't sound
know.
like you like chicken.
I like fish. I really love fish.
I'm not
Fish
as
is
big
amazing.
I like fish. Fish is okay.
Fish is really good. Okay, so...
How about tuna? Because that's the chicken of the sea.
I don't
No?
like tuna. No.
It's fish and chicken. Anyways.
I prefer salmon, maybe tilapia.
Okay.
Just gonna grab all this. All right. I'm trying to like not make a mess, but I don't think
You're
it
gonna
really
make a mess.
matters.
There's no
Yeah.
way around it. That's the beauty of cooking, is that you do in fact make a mess, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Did
My
you get it
mom
all?
always tells me a good cook like cleans as they go, so I'm
That's
trying to like,
true.
yeah.
It is 100% true. I get yelled. Ever since culinary school, I get yelled at. Clean as you go. Clean as you go. I
Yeah.
think there's signs everywhere that say clean as you go.
So here we have the chicken that's already been soaked here for like maybe overnight. So I'm going to say maybe 8 hours at least.
Sounds about right.
And so what I like to do is to...
If you're gonna add seasonings, you might want to take those gloves off because
Okay.
they're gonna stick to your gloves.
Oh, okay. That's true. So I like to add a little bit of garlic powder and onion powder. And so when I cook, I'll always say I like to cook with love. So I'm cooking as if like I'm going to love it.
So what she's doing here that's actually very key that you'll see a lot of chefs do is they don't just season the flour, they season the meat. So if you ever have fried chicken, I don't know how much you're going to add there. Is that you're adding a lot?
You do need a lot.
She's generous.
Yes, you need to be generous because that's love. You don't want
Generous
it to be too
is
much.
love.
And I kind of like to flip it
Hashtag
over a little
generous
bit
is love,
and still
right?
put garlic powder on the
More,
back of it.
right?
Yeah.
Well, can you ever have enough garlic powder? I ask myself.
And onion powder. That really does the job.
But it makes a big difference. If you literally just season the flour, you'll notice it when you're eating the chicken that the coating tastes great and the chicken doesn't taste like anything but chicken. So what she's doing here is actually very important, that she's seasoning the entire thing. Have you ever, are you gonna save some of that for the flour or no?
Yeah.
Okay, have you
I just want
ever
to make sure it's all generously
just mix
on
all the
there,
seasonings first and then add it? Because then maybe you'll get a little bit more even of a coat? Just a thought.
I just never seen anybody in my life done that. So
Okay.
that's just something that I just preferably won't do. I'll actually add some cumin to it as well. I'm sorry, some curry. And this you don't have to put as much on here, but I guess that's enough. Yeah. So I just
And
like to
when you
sprinkle
mix it, they're going to mix in a little bit better too. And luckily, it's wet from the
Right.
buttermilk.
I don't wanna add
That's salt.
Too much. Yeah. So I don't
So
want to
pour some in your hand,
Yeah.
like, because you've got super long nails,
Yeah.
so you're gonna have trouble digging out. But pour some in your hand and then take it from there. Yeah.
Okay. This should be enough. And remember, we brined the chicken, so we don't need that much salt in it anyway. So.
You want me to help you?
Good. Yeah.
I can season things too. I'm a seasoner from way back.
Really? Okay. Yes.
You gonna flip it for me? Because you're a flipper.
Yes.
I'm a seasoner. You're a flipper. Not a flapper like we were in the 20s. That looks beautiful. And you can add a ton of paprika if you want, because it's not really a strong flavor at all. It's really just a cool color.
Yeah. I usually add the paprika to the flour just because it.
You don't want it in there.
You can. You can.
No,
because
this
it
is
kind of
yours.
reminds me of another seasoning that I use too that has like a reddiness to it. So you can use
A
that.
special salt.
Yes.
No flipping? Cool. You're gonna mix it up?
Yep. I just have so much salt in my hand, so I'll just
And
add
now
it
it's all in the
there.
chicken.
So now we need some flour. And this, you can put a lot of paprika in this because the paprika really browns the chicken.
It gives it the color you're looking for?
Exactly. And then I'll add a little bit more garlic powder to this.
Let me ask you a question, because I see people do this a lot of different ways. When you fry your chicken, do you fully cook it in the deep fry, or do you cook it and then finish it off in the oven?
Oh no, I fully cook it in the deep fry.
You're like, no way, why would I do that?
Yeah, if anything, I would just cook it on like a lower temperature. So if your oven's at 8, I would cook it at 5, and then probably
fryer.
put it. My fryer is at, if my fryer is
What temperature would that be about? 325, 350?
maybe 350, and then I'll put it up to maybe 4 towards like the last 2 minutes, just so I can get that extra crisp to it.
Because
You
one
know
thing
what
I
I mean?
do find sometimes when you're frying chicken, what will happen is that to make sure the chicken's fully cooked, it'll get really dark. And a lot of times, maybe it's because it's southern fried chicken. A lot of times you go down south, I know I went to Memphis and Nashville, and they have a spicy chicken there that they like to make, and it tends to be a lot darker than the chicken that you see. It's not like the fast food chicken that you get around here. It's a much darker color, and I think that's because of the frying it and maybe the paprika.
And the paprika, exactly, that definitely does it. So usually some people will add egg, but since we soaked it in buttermilk, we don't really need to add egg to it. So honestly, you can
Do you
just
double dip it or you single dip it?
shake up the seasoning a little bit. That works too.
Just trying to get an even coat here of some flavor.
Yes.
So let's say I didn't have a huge bowl like this at home.
I would just shake it up in a plastic bag. So literally put this
Like a
flour
gallon baggie?
in a gallon bag. Or my mom, she likes to get the brown paper bags that nobody usually uses anymore from ShopRite, and she'll shake it up in that type of bag. So now we just throw the chicken in there. So if you want to throw the chicken in there, you can.
All of it?
Yeah, all
Or
of
just
it.
one? Oh, look at you. You're like, no way, all of
Yeah,
it. What are
all
you
of
doing?
it. Get
Chicken,
this
chicken,
flavor
chicken.
from everything. Everything has to be all together.
It's a lot of chicken.
Yes, and it's a lot of seasoning.
Is it? I see it's like yellowish there.
And red. That's how you know when you season well. When it's yellow,
When it's
red,
yellow
and
and
it's a whole
red.
bunch of different colors. Your
So-
chicken should not be white.
Right, next time I'll just put ketchup and mustard on it. We'll be good.
Okay. And then you just kind of get messy with it. You want to make sure your chicken is really coated with.
And you're only coating it once. You're not going to go back and double drench it or something. Do you fry it twice? That's
Sometimes I do double drench it just to make sure that it's all over every single part of the chicken, because sometimes it doesn't get all over the chicken the way you want to. So sometimes you do want to go back and make sure you add some flour into it.
Have you ever added cornmeal to it?
Cornmeal is good.
Maybe that's your new ingredient.
Yeah.
You could be like, my grandmother did this, or my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, and I added cornmeal.
Yeah, because that will probably actually crispen it up.
That would give it a
lot
nice
more.
little crisp.
Yeah.
I'll let you have that.
Okay.
You don't have to give me credit. You don't have to go, my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, Baker Dave, and then you.
Baker Dave.
You don't need to do that when you're telling the story. Feel free to. You can have that,
Well, you
okay?
could have been my dad, so, you know.
I guess I probably, how old are you? I probably could have. That's.
No, remember you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I really actually could, though.
Okay.
So we're plenty coated.
Yes.
You plan on staying in the Philly area after graduation?
I kind of am thinking about moving to Florida. Or like California, something that's like sunny, lots of like water surrounding me.
Your grandmother or whatever goes out of the way to get out of the South to come north, and then your mother starts moving more south, and you want to move even more south.
I know, it was crazy, right? But I heard that's happening. A lot
And
of
then maybe
people
your
are moving
kids
further
can
south.
move to Jamaica and help some strange
Yes.
guy find his friend from Philadelphia.
You know what's crazy? I love Jamaica. Like, I've been
Well,
there
don't go there
twice.
because you need the spot for your kids to go. They got to be able to go further south.
That's crazy. I do have like this weird connection to Jamaica. All right, so all of this is like
Coated?
coated. Yep. See how sometimes you see how this part right here didn't get.
It doesn't
fully-
look like it's coated.
Exactly. That's why I said
Nobody
sometimes
wants
you need
that.
to go back in there and make sure it's fully coated with some stuff.
Because that's the best part, right?
Right. Exactly.
I feel like I needed some sides here. You should have brought some sides with you.
I know.
What
I
would you have
want
had with this? What's the family sides that you would have with this?
some greens, mac and cheese, and candied yams. Or I would just have like some rice and some asparagus. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So wait a minute. You're going to the trouble to deep fry chicken
Yes.
with this beautiful greasy coating and all this flavor and stuff, and then you're gonna have sides of rice and asparagus, like you're trying to be healthy. You want a Diet Coke with that? Like, what is this?
I know, I'm sorry, but it's just good. It tastes
If you're
good.
going into the trouble of this, you should have the greens and everything else with it too.
I'm just thinking about like at home when people like when I have to cook fried chicken for people and I'm just like over like cooking, I just put some rice on and some asparagus.
So you put a little bit less love?
Easy. Exactly.
You save a little bit of love for later? I got you.
But if I'm feeling froggy, I might leap and I might, take some mac and cheese.
You had frog legs?
Oh, I never had frog legs. I would
They
like
say
to
it
try
tastes like chicken. I don't know.
Really?
I didn't have them.
Oh, I don't believe that. You never had frog legs before?
I've never had frog
Don't
legs.
they force you to eat stuff like that in culinary school? Like,
Okay, let me reiterate this. I'm a baker.
okay.
So I went through the pastry program. We did not have to eat frog legs.
Oh, so you got all the good stuff, all the sweet stuff. Lucky you.
Oh,
I used to work
that.
at a restaurant, so I heard all the crazy stories about people in culinary school having to try and eat all these things. And I like to watch like all those different shows too. All right, this is all seasoned and floured up.
She's putting extra love in this time.
Yes.
I've never seen anybody season it quite like that. Like it's basically a bowl full of love. I mean, I don't know any other way to explain it.
It is. All right.
Just put a couple pieces in there because
Okay.
you don't want them to be all like, look at that, you missed a spot.
Mm-hmm.
You're such a perfectionist.
Yes.
Maybe you should open a restaurant. You'll never get
Maybe.
anything done. It'll be like I'll order chicken and get it 3 days later, but
I know.
just put like 3 or 4 pieces in. You don't have to get
Okay.
crazy.
What if I want to eat all 8 though?
You're just put a couple pieces in right now.
I'm playing.
Because you want to make sure there's space in the fryer. Like at home, you're gonna have a small fryer. You're not gonna be able to throw all these in at the same time, anyways.
Right.
You don't want them necessarily all on top of each other, or they're not gonna cook evenly.
Right.
So you never really want to put more than like a layer.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so this is good then.
That looks beautiful.
Yes.
So we're gonna go ahead and take this over to the fryer. So this is our commercial fryer. It's probably a little bigger than the one you have at home.
Yeah, it's a lot bigger.
See how it starts bubbling it up and stuff? How long do you usually fry this for?
Maybe about 7 minutes.
7, 8 minutes?
7, 8 minutes, yeah. Let me just let it
That
go.
popping and stuff, that's all the liquid coming out of it from the
Yeah.
brine and everything, like all that stuff as it's drying out, it's boiling out. Like you ever throw water on a fryer, on oil, and then
it
it
just
pops?
all over, yes. Oh, okay. I always wonder why I just started to do that. Okay, that makes sense.
So it'll also start floating at some point, which is kind of cool. Not right this second, but at some point that's what's gonna happen.
And then when it floats, that's usually when it's about ready.
It's getting there. That means it's mostly done, and then you want to go a little bit further than that because you want to make sure that the inside is cooked to
Right.
usually an internal temperature of about 165
Okay.
if you use a thermometer.
I don't have one, but I'll try to get one. Our chicken is ready.
So the chicken is ready.
Yay!
Woo!
So hungry.
So it is like it is a little bit darker than, like I said, you normally see fried chicken, but I think that's partly, like you said, the paprika, all the spices you put it, the love. I think love
Yes.
instantly darkens food, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yes. I kind of want to I like wings. I don't know why. I love the wing part. Yes. And when it just snatches off like that.
you're not even saying you like the wing. You like everybody likes the drumettes usually. You're like, I want the wing,
I
the
want
part
the
that actually
flats.
flies.
The flats. I like to order flats only. So let's
Okay,
taste this.
let's give this a try. That's good. So juicy. Partly from the brining and partly because it's fried chicken.
Very
which is
tender.
usually juicy. And yet crispy on the outside. It's not over seasoned, although I swore you were over seasoning it because there was a lot of, but it was just the right amount of love. It was delicious.
I couldn't even stop eating. I don't know.
I'm seeing that. And it's only a wing. Like, how much meat could there possibly be on there?
I know.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me.
This
It
is
was a
awesome.
pleasure.
Thank you for joining us here on Baker Dave Presents. And a special thanks to Nailah Adam and for her delicious Southern fried chicken. Join us again next time on Baker Dave Presents. And remember, every recipe has a story.